Hello and welcome to part 2 of our scrap wood bathroom cabinet build. In case you didn't see the first part, we essentially turned a load of scrap wood, some of this stuff that you can see behind me, into a bathroom vanity or cabinet using these planks for the top and some of the shelves, and then some other bits of scrap to build the frame. We didn't quite finish, but that is what we're going to do in this video. So stick around and let's see what happens. Good morning.
Good morning.
Are we getting a glimpse into your world here?
My scrapyard.
What are you looking for?
Something like particle board to do the back, to cover up the pipe work. So I was thinking to take the bottom out of these drawers, but I think they're a bit too small.
This is also the right kind of thing, but not in great condition.
No, we're not using that. I think we might have something in here from when I pulled apart some wardrobes and other bits and pieces.
There's some stuff a little bit lower down. It looks thin.
Oh
it looks
yeah,
small.
good spot. Sorry. This is exactly what I was looking for. Oh. Sit it just on there at the back.
Yeah.
And then just attach it to this frame.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just, I think it's going to be like just above these isolators. So we can just cut out a small bit
perfect.
like that. We will also need a hole for the sink taps.
Something like that.
Because this has such a short overhang, I think you can go back that a little bit more. I think like that. Okay. Not bad for scraps we found in the carport. I mean, who thought that reclaimed floorboards could look so good? So these are actually half the width also of the floorboards. I ripped them in half first. So double for the money. No money.
Well, I don't know. We've spent 70 grand on the house.
And some money's on a table saw.
Okay, we have cut out our back pieces to hide all the plumbing behind, and we've cut out some holes in the back so that we can access all of the isolators. Those are going to be painted white to try and make them look a bit nicer and make it blend in with the rest of the cabinet. And speaking of painting, this is something that we need to address from the last video. We put together a poll to ask you lovely people whether we should paint the paneling that is going to go either side of the cabinet or whether we should leave it naked. And we had literally thousands of votes, which was quite a surprise, but there was an overwhelming majority of paint it white rather than leave it naked. We agree, but we also agree with the people who said leave it naked. And so what we're going to try as a test is both. Maybe you can explain better than I can.
Just after we finished filming the wrap up to that video, while I was sleeping that night, my brain went to work. And it was like, well, why don't we whitewash them? So a really light white to take away the Scandinavian sauna feel, but to still see the grain of the timber, because it's such a shame to cover up, you know, these beautiful marks. So first of all, we started with, well, we'll just do one coat of white paint, and then we're like, oh, we could just dilute it so it's more like a whitewash. We're not sure how it's going to look. We're not sure whether we're going to like it. Going to lightly diluted paint wash once, maybe twice, depending on what it looks like, and then have a look at them in place and see what we think. We have definitely decided to panel it in, and the reason for the paneling is it may not come across on video, but on the side there where you come into the bathroom, you can't even get your hand through that gap. So there's no purpose to leaving it open. So we're going to panel it, which was always what we wanted to do. We just weren't sure when we saw it open.
I also think there's a case to be made for a coloured paint, something in a more kind of European style, like a powder blue or a duck egg blue or even like an olive green, but those suggestions have been vetoed.
They have not been vetoed. We're just trying to use what we already have for this prototype.
That too.
I mean, that's quite watery, so it might actually need a couple of coats.
Which I think it's better to have a couple of thin coats.
Yeah, exactly. But also I know it dries a little bit whiter than it looks.
It does,
when
yeah,
you
for sure.
paint it on.
Well, it looks slightly less like a sauna.
That I like. The thing I'm not sure of is if the grain in that's on show is going to compete with the grain in the waxed timber. I also think we need the back bits in to really see the contrast, because there's so much timber going on with OSB and everything. So I think the next step is to get those back pieces on.
They've only had one coat of paint.
Yeah, so we'll get another coat on, we'll wait till they dry, we'll put those in. So yeah, we're going to defer this until we get a few more of the pieces in place. While we're deferring that, we'll paint the back, and then we have another little side project to do to finish off this side of the space. So let's go and have a look at that. So this was downstairs in the what is now the lounge room, hanging on a wall. It's a ladder that I think they might have used for olive harvest, and we've kept it indoors, tried to keep it dry and safe in the hope that we'd find something to use it for.
Let's get it out of here and show the lovely people what we have got.
Yes.
Which way round do we want it? This way?
This is definitely a rustic build when they did it.
Yeah, I don't think this was even straight when it was originally made. I mean, that is so cool.
We're going to make a towel rail holder thing. It's got to hold three things. A hand towel for drying your hands after you've washed them. I hoped that one of these would be removable so that you could put a toilet roll on there for when we have guests. And then we will put our own little toilet towels, as we call them, for after you have used the bidet, you can pat yourself dry. We said 140, 150?
Yeah, about 150, I think.
Yeah, which would get us to here.
Yeah, why don't we start there, because we can shorten it if we need to, and we're only going to lose a small amount.
Yep.
About here.
So I think it could go there. See if you can stand in front of the toilet and assume the position. Yeah, that's it.
That's the
Is that what
position.
you boys do in here? Is that why it takes so long?
That is not really in my way. Could do with a sit down, I tell you.
Can it go closer to the wall, further away from your knee, or does that not make...
That's probably better.
No, that was too tight.
No,
With
it
your
doesn't really
feet.
work. And I think that doesn't really work either.
That's not good.
Well, it's a bit awkward. This is turning into a less good idea than I thought it would be. Well, let's see how that looks.
It just looks unfinished and still like a sauna.
Somehow I think it even looks worse on camera.
Is that even possible?
I think we need another attempt. Okay, let's stick that up there. So I apologise, but for the next few minutes, this is about the only shot that you're going to see because it's a tiny space. Okay, so I have to go the other way around. See, a professional plumber would know that. So, step 1, mount your tap. We can turn this into a how-to video. We'll just cut out all of the mistakes. Okay, I think that's good. So, yeah, hot goes on the left. Step 2, attach your tails.
We could write a whole blog post on this, you know, step by step.
And the funny thing is, it's not the first tap we've ever installed on a sink. And we still have no idea what we're doing.
Every situation's different.
Step 3, stick the long thing in the hole.
I need some diagrams for that one.
Yeah, I certainly do. Still haven't worked it out. Plumbing.
Plum.
The gift that keeps on giving. Step, I don't know what.
3.
Plug it.
Plug it.
Plug the hole. Sorry.
You are not.
Not really, sorry. We have substituted a trap because it was the wrong size.
No, we can still put the trap.
No, we can't because it's the wrong size. But this is essentially like a U-bend.
Yes. Could be.
Could be.
Yes.
That is what we found at the local store.
Yeah. That's what we have under the kitchen sink as well.
Yeah.
All temporary.
Well, temporary for some time.
Temporary for some time, yeah. So you reckon this is done up tight enough?
I reckon.
I guess we'll find out in a minute.
Yeah.
Do me a favour and pass me a piece of that toilet paper, and then I can do the
leak test.
The leak test. 100%.
Well, let's try and put it on, and then we can use the water that is being perfectly held in this leak-proof basin. Ready?
Yeah. Okay, now the tails. Okay.
I mean, the good news is that is pretty steady as well.
It's really steady.
We can put some silicone round.
Yeah, to stop the water getting...
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know how much splashing happens when you're just washing your hands.
Some, not many. While we're on a roll with the plumbing, let's test this bum gun. Need an Allen key of some description.
Did it not come with?
Maybe. Why is it called an Allen key? Is it invented by a bloke called Allen?
There is an Allen key.
Excellent. Then I don't need to go rummaging to find one.
And there is also another. So that obviously goes somewhere.
Oh, that probably goes in here. Well, should we do the other end as well?
Shall I read the instructions? The handle on.
We've taped these already. We just haven't ever turned this on because...
Correct.
We've not had this on before.
So that part goes on first. Grub screw that on. Then attach the hose.
We've put this on upside down. So there's a little divot here for the grub screw.
That's alright, we'll just take it out and turn it upside down.
Upside down. Okay. God, these are quite stiff. Maybe I'm turning it the wrong way.
There you go.
Nope, nothing.
Good, good, good.
Cool. Let me screw this on.
Hose. Yeah.
That was explosive.
I mean, that's going to give you a good clean.
Yeah. Maybe we don't talk about that so much.
I saw this thing on Instagram recently, and it was a little meme or whatever explaining why people use bidets. And it said, think about if you get dog poo on your shoe. Would you prefer to wipe it off with a tissue or hose it off?
That is a fair comment.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay, they're both on.
Yeah.
And I don't see any leaks. Do you feel any leaks?
Not there. There's a tight space, let me tell you. Oh my god, we're going to be able to wash our hands in the sink. That's so exciting. Alright, on to the next dilemma to solve.
Oh, come on. Okay, there we go. That's going to go in there. And then we've got our air admittance valve. Oh, it goes there. So, I thought we were almost done and ready to do the big reveal, but we noticed there was a bit of a leak coming from the basin, and we thought the issue was the seals that came with the pop-up plug thing. Usually they're not very good, they don't provide a very good seal. So we took those out and we replaced it with a bit of plumber's mate, and we still had some leaks. And then we realized that we actually made a much bigger mistake much earlier in this whole build. When we cut the hole for the sink, we just drew around the size of the plug hole and cut it out. And then when we fixed the plug thing in place, we attached it to the underside of the worktop rather than the underside of the sink. So there was essentially a huge gap like this, where even the smallest amount of water could come through and then drip down. So, unfortunately, what this means is we have to do a bit of an undo redo. We need to take the sink and the taps, remove that out of the way, cut a bigger hole, and then put it all back together again. It's never easy, this stuff, unless you've done it 100 times before. And we've done it a couple of times before and we still make mistakes. Anyway, this is how you learn. Okay, I've got that.
Okay, just hold there. Right, you're in charge of holding that.
Here's a question before you go ahead and do that. Now that we've moved this away, could we just rotate this and rest it on there and have access to the hole?
Ah, yeah, good idea.
So I don't think the lovely people just heard what you said before I turned
I
the
said,
camera
I
on.
effed it up, so I'll fix it. That's the problem I foresee.
No.
No chance.
You're trying to do too tight of a curve with it, I think.
Well, it's not going to get done otherwise.
No, but you can do some straight bits.
And then what?
I don't know, I'm just trying to help.
Go for it.
Well, it is not a perfect circle.
No, but it's big enough, good enough.
Should be big enough and good enough.
Okay.
So, that goes on there. That goes on there, all the way up to the sink. Some water.
So far, so good.
Excellent. So we could have just cut all this out and no one would know that we were a couple of idiots. Okay, I think we are back up and running with a non-leaking sink waste, which is excellent news. So now all we have to do is put in some finishing touches, some decorative pieces, make it look as nice as we can, and then cue the inspirational B-roll. So, what do you think?
It's going to be so nice to be able to wash the hands in here. Look at that! First it was a flushing toilet, now it's running water in the bathroom.
And it doesn't leak anymore.
It doesn't leak.
So, should we talk through some of the features or maybe just some final thoughts?
So, one of the things which I think wasn't clear in my explanation last time about the way we do prototypes is that the prototype, i.e. this build, is just function. It's not design aesthetic. This is definitely not rustic farmhouse, and it was never meant to be. It was just to use whatever materials we had to test out the size, and I actually think this could be a bit bigger this way, to test the function, to test whether we want open shelves, closed shelves, whether the bowl is big enough for the space, etc., etc. And so this still has a little bit of a Scandinavian look to it. So that's one thing. The other thing is this is a downstairs loo. We're going to have a fully functioning bathroom upstairs, and so we're not really going to be storing anything in here, so we don't need to get to the back of the shelves or anything. It's really just going to have toilet paper for guests and hand towels. So you don't really need to get to anything. On the side here, you can't even get your hand in, which is why we panelled it, because it kind of looked a bit strange. Kind of connected to this idea of prototyping is one of the reasons we do it is to feel the space, and I've already noticed some design improvements. Actually, this one was a mistake, but it's also a design improvement. So when we did the tabletop, I'd already cut all the pieces before the glue up, before we added this extra depth. So the overhang at the front here is like pretty much non-existent, and similarly on the edge here. So in the next version, I'll come out a bit deeper here, and I think we could come out a little bit more even. And I also won't do this. I'll just kind of cut across, maybe all the way across to here. And I think then the bidet could just be put on the angled piece, making it actually easier to reach, because here it's, yeah. So that's one thing, and we would totally be then designing it. I would like to do some live edge hardwood cabinets, tables.
You mean the worktop of it?
Yeah, worktop, but maybe also the legs, and of course not painted. That would let the timber have its own say. Otherwise, I'm very happy with it.
Yeah, I'm also really pleased with the way it's all come together, and I think the accessories that we've put in have really helped. Some of them are things that we had from a previous property, but we've also got the reclaimed ladder, which I think works really well being mounted up on the wall. Before we tried to put it on the floor and it really wasn't working. And then there was this kind of dead space in the back corner, and we thought it needed something with a bit of height to it. And so I just went out in the garden and pulled up some weeds, put a bit of string around them, and now we've got this kind of nice farmhousey wheat sheaf grass thing in the corner. And it's funny that such a small thing can make such a big difference. But I think it's really taken the room in the right direction rather than the kind of modern Scandinavian kind of vibe that we had earlier. And there's something else that we've put in here as well, and I think it's worth highlighting because it's something that Kylie made. Would you like to turn around and show us your masterpiece?
So this is my handiwork.
A handy towel.
Handy towel. Mosaic crochet, reversible. I'm also making 2 matching face cloths / toilet towels for patting yourself dry after you've used the bidet.
That was very tastefully put.
We'll have one each of those, and they will get changed regularly.
His and hers
His
toilet
and
towels.
hers. There is something else missing in here, which is something to
yeah.
go on this wall. So I have been looking for a mirror, and I want to find an old Portuguese style mirror and upcycle it, reclaim it. I've been trawling Marketplace, and I've just not found anything yet that's suitable or close enough that it's worth driving to have a look at and pick up. So I'll keep doing that until I can find something.
But otherwise, generally, very happy.
Oh, it's so much better than I thought it was going to be. And I also thought it was going to feel a lot more pokey. And it really doesn't. And that's why I actually think the worktop can be a bit bigger, because it's not pokey at all. Even when the door is closed, not pokey. So I'm actually really surprised about that.
Well, we should probably wrap this up before Kylie wants to do another design improvement and make the worktop bigger before we've even started using it. Although I'm sure we will be making some changes down here in due course. Speaking of changes down here, something else we have been working on for what feels like forever now is the rest of the downstairs. We're now living on the ground floor. We've got a kitchen, a dining room, a lounge, a bedroom area, an editing suite / utility room, and now a fully functioning downstairs bathroom. And so because there have been quite a lot of changes, we're going to do a video next week where we're going to give you a tour of the whole space. We're actually going to do it as a premiere. So it'll be at the usual time, 9 o'clock in the morning, Portugal time. So you'll be able to chat to us in real time as the video plays. We'll be throwing in some extra stuff. We'll be able to answer your questions. And as we go around, we'll show you some of the before and after type stuff. So you can see how far it's come in, well, quite a long time. But you can see how far it's come, which is much more impressive than the amount of time it's taken. Anyway, that will be next week's video. So do make sure you're subscribed for that. And we will see you then. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Can I try the tap again? Look at that! Oh, it's even got hot, right? Eventually. Is that the hot side? Yeah.